racer, go speed racer, go speed racer, go!
We were born to make history. We'll make it happen. We'll turn it around.
Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. What's up, everyone? I am the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku and Animation News Network, and today I'm taking a look at the first half to Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger. This review is going to be a tad different from other Sentai reviews as Boonboomger is still airing. As such, this review will only cover the first half of the show, which includes the first two arcs called laps. After the green screen festival that was King-Ohger, Toei decided it was time to go back to a more traditional looking Sentai show. This new show then became titled Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger, once again enhancing my theory that Toei just picks random words out of a hat to name a series. They hired a man named Atsuhiro Tomioka to helm the series. Tomioka's past works include several Pokemon episodes across a multitude of series, while also being the head writer for the Digimon Adventure remake and writing several episodes of Dragon Ball Super. Boonboomger is his first time tackling a Toku series. He's also the head writer of a new anime series titled The Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World. It is nice to see new blood tackling a Sentai show, but is Tomioka a strong enough writer to handle a year-long show on his own? Let's see how things are going right now. The heroes! Our heroes use car power to protect the Earth from an evil crime syndicate. But hey, at least they're not using car power to fight pollution. And their names all play on the show's car theme. They are Taiya Handle, Ishiro Meta, Mira Shifuto, Joe Axe, and Genba Bureiki. Taiya lost his parents when he was young and was raised by a corporate CEO named Naito Raita. It was Raita's encouragement and positivity that steered Taiya into setting up a company that would hand deliver packages and other items to people.
Yo, Shonen! 稼いでるかい ?2 年ぶりか。たまには顔見せろよ。少年。
少年なんて年じゃないよ。
During this time, he befriended an alien-like machine named Boondorio Boondoras, or Boomer for short.
この星の人たちから見たら宇宙人ってとこかな。
事故で地球に落ちてきたところ、俺が助けたんだ。
Boomer came to Earth after having his license to perform in a space racing series called the Big Bang Grand Prix revoked and was unsure what he wanted to do with his life going forward. This led him to Taiya, and together they created a specialized suit that would allow him to transform, calling it a Boonboomger. Taiya planned to use this suit in space and race for Boomer when an evil crime syndicate named the Hashi Aliens started to invade the planet. From here on out, Taiya decided he would set aside the dream to partake in the Big Bang Grand Prix to protect Earth from its invaders first. I really like how Taiya is a more laid-back Red Ranger who plays everything with a cool and collected head rather than going off the deep end. His backstory is interesting and is trying to make people happy and enhances his likability. This stemmed from a teacher he had a crush on who helped him learn how to play the guitar. She is also the reason why the Boonboomgers have different colors for each member.
自分と違う色を持った人が一緒だと世界はカラフルでもっともっと面白くなるよ
Actor Haruhi Uichi is quite strong, but the show is diverse enough that he doesn't have to carry it all on his shoulders.
あなたはなぜ戦うのですか
その先にでかい夢があるからだ。
それは彼の夢でしょ。あなたの夢じゃない。
俺の夢だ。
Boomer is voiced by Rika Matsumoto, who is no stranger to Sentai as she was Arthur in Five Man, along with being the voice of Satoshi in Pokemon and the second voice of Bakura in Yu-Gi-Oh!
5人目のブンブンじゃ爆速爆走爆上げだぜこうしちゃいらない
Besides being essentially the Boonboomger's mechanic and outer space liaison, he loves to cook.
ブンブンカレー食べて待ってよよ
God damn it, it makes me crave curry every episode. Ishiro tends to go by the nickname of Chishiro. His job is to be Taiya's informant on what's going on in the world. It helps keep Taiya on top of tasks that may require his services. It seems like Chishiro was a spy of some sorts who crossed paths with Taiya, but we have yet to be given the full details on his backstory as of this moment in time.
惚れたよその腕俺が勝った
He is played by Yuki Hayama.
信頼できる筋からの情報だブンピンク逮捕逮捕連行されたのは警察じゃない
Chishiro is typically quiet as he prefers to think about a scenario before rushing into it. He even uses Mira's impulsiveness to jump into battle without thinking to his advantage on discovering a monster's weakness.
ということは吸い込む量には限界がある敵の能力を観察し対策を決めて
Speaking of whom, as I just said, Mira is very impulsive. At the start of the show, she was about to get married when Taiya kidnapped her because her actual boyfriend hired him to do so. This ended up introducing her to the Hashi aliens, threatening the world, and she immediately decides she wants to be a Boonboomger.
私も戦うあんたみたいに自分のハンドルは自分で握る私は私自身を私の思うところに届ける
Taiya is impressed with his decision, while Chishiro is very reluctant at first.
なんでこいつがここにいる
だって私もブンブンじゃん
認めてないぞ俺は
Someone's jealous. I do like how Taiya is also responsible for Mira's team pose.
気分ブンブンぶん回せ爆上げ戦隊ブンブンじゃん
Mira works as a temp, taking on whatever job is given to her. She also loves to contradict herself. There was a moment where she was done with work for the day, complains about how busy she has been.
今日もバイトかい
もう動けない
Her boss then calls her because he is unable to work, so she takes up the shift without hesitation.
はい店長お疲れ様ですえぎっくり腰わかりました任せてください
Another fun bit with her from that situation is she gets captured by a monster and sees it as a moment to relax.
意外といいお湯
Miyu Suzuki seems to be having a lot of fun with Mira as she is always bringing a vast amount of energy to the role.
次に動いて切られるのはドイツだ
何でもいいだろなんだよ俺はから仕込んでくれ
おかしいなこっちだと思ったんだけど
Lastly, she ends up saving a child from getting isekai'd.
成長しましたねセラ
Ryu Saito's Joe shows up in the first episode as a police officer who becomes one of a monster's targets. It isn't until the 5th episode where he actually becomes Boon Black, so it gives the show some time to develop its initial trio, while Joe does have a cameo appearance in the others to show his strive to be a good cop. In fact, Joe's strongest point is the guy truly is a good person. He is such a goody two-shoes that he even turns in a coin he found on the ground to the closest police station.
遺失物を発見先輩手続きお願いします
This good nature of him really annoyed Chishiro, as he was certain no one could be inherently good without needing something in return.
真面目すぎるほど真面目な警察やなど俺は信じない
チャーシロ自分で言ったんじゃん
奴の裏の顔必ず暴く
町の人もブンブンジャーも
俺が守るわ
あの水を浴びたのに言うことが変わらない
あれが彼の本音ってことじゃない
On the downside, Joe is very naive and can be aggressively compassionate, as we saw in one episode revolving around his love of baseball.
ジョーにとっての野球の素晴らしさってなんだ。
それは野球は9回の裏2アウトまで勝負が分からないスポーツです。最後まで諦めない不屈の闘志があれば。
Our final core member of the Boonboomgers is currently my favorite of the team, and that is Taiya's procurement expert, Genba. Genba is very lax but efficient in his tasks. Very early on, there was an episode that featured a monster made out of a vacuum cleaner. Chishiro came to the conclusion that the best way to defeat the monster was to jam its vacuum. Genba's task was to acquire a local junkyard they could take the monster to, and purchased it for Taiya.
ではこれで所有者は半藤タイヤということで。それからですね、私の取り分は。
Like Chishiro, Genba seems to have a mysterious past that has to be unearthed. He's very lax, likes to have fun when the need arises, as he showed during an incident where he took up the identity of the Candy Detective to figure out why a series of fires had been occurring across town.
今の私は飴玉探偵。
え？けど玄馬さんですよね。
飴玉探偵だよ。
It is worth noting that Satoru Soma gets the honor of being the first non-6 Orange Ranger in the history of Sentai.
大丈夫大丈夫。
もっと気をつけてよ。
I can't say I am a fan of the overall designs of the Boonboomgers. I do like how the bodysuits match that of a racer, but the helmets are terrible. Looking at them is tiring. The tires over them are just way too big, and the middle portion that splits up the visor does not look good at all. It's like they decided to take the O-Ranger helmets and make them uglier than they already were. I do like the mouths on them though. They have wheels on their backs that actually fold downward, allowing them to drive as if they were on a go-kart. Taiya, Chihiro, and Mira's changer used to transform is detached from a bracelet they wear on their wrist, while the one Genba and Joe use attaches to their axe weapon. The weapons used for red, blue, and pink are a tire-looking device that can alter between being a gun and a sword. Black and Orange's axes also have a sword mode. Taiya received an armored form in episode 21 through a gun called the Zoom Zoom Fire Blaster. The gun was created by Boomer after finding a drawing Taiya had made of him as a firefighter when he was a kid. It allows him to extinguish fire attacks with ease. I do like that this new form has Joe and Chishiro pondering what their upgrade forms would look like, with hilarious results.
ブンブラック110とか。
ブンブルー007クールだ。
An interesting turn of events for Boonboomger is the inclusion of a government agency. Due to the Hashalian threat, the International Space Agency, or ISA, started to take precautionary measures to combat these beings. Fortunately for them, the Boonboomgers were already ahead of the game, so they unofficially employed the Boonboomgers to do their bidding. An agent of theirs with huge glasses named Shirabe Saibu has been tasked to monitor the Boonboomgers and ensure they are working with the government's best interest in mind. If they ever stray, she is to strip them of their gear immediately and give it to the government.
国際平和維持宇宙法第25条第3項適用。今後ハシリアの侵略行動に対しては ISA の1000人の部隊が対応し、文文化をはじめとする装備は全て ISA が接収。
As of this moment, it's unclear exactly where Shirabe's loyalties lie. She reminds me a bit of Noah Bennett from the show Heroes, as she is only willing to do what is right by the Boonboomgers as long as they remain loyal to her. I don't fully trust her, even though she has an unhealthy obsession with Boomer.
悩んでる姿も可愛い。さ さっきの文ちゃん可愛かったな。可愛かった。
Whoa! Dude, that's creepy.
She is played by former idol Hashiyatsume Asuko.
アクセ上順さ、あなたに聞きたいことがあります。
The latest Boonboomger to enter the fray is Yu Miyazawa's Sakito and Mira. I do like that his transformation device and main weapon is a video game controller.
Bakuage Taiya! Boon Boomer! Commando Shonin!
Tomioka must have been a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, as Sakito's backstory seems to mimic that. He lost his parents when he was 10 and was soon taken by aliens and raised in space.
俺の名前は本村咲人。お前だ。俺をうちに連れてけ。
He teamed up with a former rival of Boomers called Boon D, the D being short for Diesel, even though he resembles an F1 race car.
ブンブンジャーはもともと私とブンドリオがビッグバングランプリで使っていたチーム名だ。
Sakito is taken the task of being a cleaner. A cleaner is someone who tries to mediate conflicts by whatever means necessary. He was hired by the Hasha aliens to deliver a package that would end their fight with the Boonboomgers, only to discover what their true goal was. Taiya then offered him to be their personal cleaner, and now he and Boon D fight with the Boonboomgers, at least for the moment in time.
これは何だ？トマトジュースですが、お客様のご注文は？俺はカオスなやつ。かしこまりました。
Boon D also welcomes being able to work with Boomer again, who he thought had died for a while.
同じチームの私に何も言わず、突然姿を消した。そして死んだという噂も聞いた。
Natsuki Hanae voices Boon D, who has also been the likes of Takumi in Food Wars, Kaneki in Tokyo Ghoul, and Sieg in Fate Apocrypha.
共にビッグバングランプリに出場していた。同じチームで走っていたチームメイトでもある。
Go on Red and the Engines have shown up in an episode, which was interesting.
奴の攻撃に気をつけろ。俺の戦い方はマッハで前に出るだけだ。お、なんだ？
ああ、もう。
重い。
だからタイヤが言ったのに。
The villains! The Hasha aliens appear to be a mafioso of machines that have conquered various planets across the galaxy. We have yet to meet the bigwigs of this crime syndicate. All we know is they have sent out a trio of minions to scoop out the Earth and have 2 different supervisors come to check in on them. Their job is to collect gasoline from people to power their syndicate. The trio is compiled of Decotrade, Itasha, and Yaya Yarukar.
イターシャじゃなくてヘターシャだな。俺うまいこと言っちゃった。
ムカつくからこうしてやる。
They don't seem very threatening and cause more of a ruckus than any actual damage. Decotrade and Natasha remind me of Yabaiba and Seisei in Gal Ranger. Natasha is tasked with using a key device that will bring to life any object it is inserted into, creating an auto monster.
ガッチャンイグニッション。
Sometimes they end up creating really crappy auto monsters. Other times we get ones that are fire. I think my favorite auto monster at this point is one based on an ATM, whose attack weighs people down depending on how much money they have in their bank account.
金の重さ思い知れ。グルマネー札発射。
Which leads to this joyful moment.
くない。
なんで重くならない？
じ
ジョーは新しいトレーニングマシンを買ったばかりで金がない。
Gym Auto Monster was pretty funny. And this one was kind of intense.
俺の地獄キャンプからは逃れられないぜ。
Yarukar is the most interesting Hasha alien as he is a tiny sentient car. He doesn't like people who talk big but can't act and will get very snarky towards them.
マトリックス様よりダサいか。
何か聞こえましたね。なぜこうもギャソリンが集まらないのです。
よくわかんない。誰かさんの指示が悪いか。
改造しますよ。
イライラしなくなる改造を自分にすればいいか。あの改造隊長どうにも気に入らないか。
Oh my god. This dude is totally me. He's also the one who rebuilds a destroyed auto monster into a giant. He drives down some dimensional speedway that fuels his rage enough to spit out gasoline. Later, after he has been modified, he can instantly spew out a titanic threat. Our scout trio are voiced by Junichi Sawabe, Nana Mizuki, and Sumire Murahoshi. Anime credits for Sawabe include Dandy and Space Dandy and Leon Abacchio in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Mizuki has been Hinata Naruto and Anne Takamaki in Persona 5.
私たちサンシーターにお任せくださればすぐにでもこの星を走りやんの縄張りとしたくさんのギャーソリンを献上できるかと存じます。
She was also the Japanese dub voice for Trini in the 2017 Power Rangers movie. We have all heard Morahoshi's voice as Nina Tucker in Fullmetal Alchemist, Yui Sakamoto in Blue Exorcist, Hanami in Tokyo Ghoul, and Pala Pala in Sailor Moon Eternal and Cosmos.
私めに改造されたくなければさっさとギャーソリンを集めてくるのです。
やるちゃんモノマネお上手。
There have been two supervisors that have come to Earth to check on these three scouts. The first was your typical first general called Mad Rex. He had an incredible introduction, gave us a great fight scene with Taiya, and then died like a bitch.
そうはお手の物、暴走は俺のもの。
走りやん切り込み隊長。
Mad Rex was voiced by Trafficker Laws, Hiroshi Kamiya. He was also Sho Rampo in Q Ranger.
その面からタイヤをひっぺがしボスに献上してやるからな。
パラリラパラリラ。
今度は相打ちなんて無様な真似はしねえ。
The second captain is Cannonborg. Cannonborg is an arrogant brat who constantly threatens to modify Decotrade and Natasha if they continue to fail, and will take Natasha's job of creating the auto monsters from her because he is a dick.
イグニッション。
それ私の仕事なのに。
He didn't do much outside of barking orders, making him even more useless than Mad Rex despite being in more than 4 times as many episodes.
私はまだまだ改造と実験を繰り返さなければなりません。あなたたちは今まで通りギャーソリンを集めてくるのです。
Kojiro was the one who voiced him. She has been Orochimaru in Naruto, Ursula in Kingdom Hearts, Sakura in Danganronpa, and Goldberry in Fullmetal Panic.
わかります。私こそアシリアン改造隊長キャノンバーク。
The grunts are known as Neji letters. At this point, it is really hard to find something new to say about grunts unless they do anything extraordinary. So far, their most notable point was growing in an episode. As As of right now, I can't say the Hasha aliens have done anything for me, which is a real disappointment coming off what Don Brothers and King-Ohger gave us with the villains. They aren't as useless as Toji Tendo, but they're pretty by the book in being generic. They do fit in with the villains of the late 2000s, so I will give them that.
これはワンチャン勝てるかもよ。
ワンだけにってか？
うまい。
The Mecha! The Mecha's not too bad. Boonboomger Robo is made up of a bunch of cars that combine with Boomer. Boomer grows big and transforms into a semi for car chases with Car until he and two others combine with him. Shishiro has an off-road car, Mira's is a station wagon, Joe's are a pair of police vehicles, while Genba has construction trucks. Boomer is the main body, with the others being arm attachments. I will say, there was one scene I really did enjoy back in the beginning of the show with Boonboomger Robo, where he used his weapon as a screwdriver to take apart one of the monsters. There are a couple of auxiliary cars as well, one of which forms a monster version that gives Boomer a monstrous head. Taiya receives a lion mech with his 119 form that can also transform into a fire engine. Leon combines with Boomer. Boon D has his own giant-sized form that sees him transforming into a race car. I quite like how his body is designed to look like a race car driver controlling the car. His wings allow him to fly. They're also compatible with Boonboomger Robo. The duo and all the auxiliary cars are able to combine to create one giant cannon weapon. And because Gohan Red appears, so does Engine O. Our last mech at this time belongs to Deco-traded Natasha named Boom Boom Killer Robo. It hasn't done too much thus far, but I'm hoping it becomes a prominent thread as the series progresses. The effects and music! Boonboomger has some really outstanding effects and music. There are many fight sequences that are truly well choreographed and filmed. The first fight of Taiya fighting in his 119 form is a quick first-person shooter-esque sequence that was pretty cool. I would love to see something like this expanded on. Maybe have an entire fight that is filmed in first person from the moment one of the Boonboomgers transforms. Even the mech battles are engaging, and I think part of that has to do with how mobile the suits currently are. There is quite a bit of CGI used, but it doesn't really get out of hand to the point where it pulls you out of the immersion of an episode. It seems like Boonboomger was composed by two newer musicians, Yoshiya Ikeda and Kota Yokoseki. The music to the show is solid with a lot of pieces that are energetic and keep the action scenes heightened.
他の方法を探す必要があるね。キャノンボーグは地上から信号を送ってあれを操作している。 届けてみる。
動かない方がいいわよ。
おいおいおい、何ちんたらしてんだしますや。
ちゃっちゃとブンブンじゃやっつけるか。
The opening is performed by Masaki Endo, who had previously sung the opening theme to Aba Ranger. Rika Matsumoto lends her talents to the ending theme, Kotsu Kotsu Pon Pon. Both pieces are well done and do their jobs of getting you into the Boonboomger mood and easing you out of it as the ending song should. Each ending does include a sequence where the cast gives you some sort of tip, which doesn't always make sense.
自転車に乗るときは友達と並ばない。
What? Why not ride side by side? I also don't like how they relegated Sakito and Boon D to a bubble that pops up every now and then in the ending sequence after they've appeared, rather than actually inserting them into the sequence or refilming the sequence. The episodes! Boonboomger has had a lot of entertaining episodes, though it has also had a lot of filler up to this point. After King-Ohger went full-on story mode with very little in the way of filler, it's a bit of a letdown to have Boonboomger be the opposite of that. There have been a lot of great character moments. Taiya and Mira have had good development. Genba and Joe have been the stars of both the best and worst episodes of the show. Meanwhile, Sakito has had more development in his premiere trilogy than Chihiro has had this entire time. I really hope the second half sees a deep dive on who Chihiro was and what truly led him to become Taiya's informant. The same goes for the Hasha aliens, who, as I said a little while ago, are kind of just there. If you were to ask me to describe Boonboomger in one word at this point in time, I would say it would be safe. I feel because Don Brothers was a perfect tribute to the Sentai series of the 80s and 90s, King-Ohger was a complete experiment, Toei decided they wanted to play this year's show safe. Maybe to come up with something unique to celebrate the franchise's anniversary? No, there is nothing wrong with being safe, but again, it makes Boonboomger feel rather lackluster by comparison. There have been quite a few solid episodes, with my favorite one being One Exciting Mission. In this episode, the ISA needs to transport some volatile materials across town without the Hasha aliens learning of this. The Boonboomgers are hired to perform this task, which sees Genba wandering around town with a super secret briefcase.
新開発された高濃度エネルギー体の試作品。このサイズで東京中の電力を賄えるだけのエネルギーが詰まっているんだ。
これが？
おっと、うかつに触ると危ないよ。
The outcome is quite predictable, but it is Genba's nonchalant attitude towards his task that makes the episode golden. That, and Mira's constant worry about his job being ruined by the Hasha aliens. It all leads to one hilarious scene towards the end with just downright hilarious results.
あげるよ。
Opposite of that is episode 15, Joe and Key. This one sees Atasha creating an auto monster with the fossils of a Simiosaurus, and it runs away before our heroes can fight it. They go looking around for it, and Joe finds out that it's actually not evil.
どうなってんだ。お前、腹減ってるのか。
You can pretty much figure out how things are going to play out from there, as it's your stereotypical good monster plot. There's only two ways this can go. The monster is pretending to be good, or he is going to get mind controlled to be evil. I'll let you decide. Genba's episode was equally predictable, but it was the way Genba reacted to his task that made everything work. Here, Joe is completely idiotic. I understand he is the Boy Scout of the team, but he was way too trusting instantaneously. The sleeping together bit was just way too over the top, even by Sentai standards. Worse, it was just utterly boring. This was where I started to realize Joe is my least favorite of the team because he is such a vanilla character. That's not to say all vanilla characters are bad, because Superman is one. And when you get a good ass writer to write him, he is an incredible hero. The biggest issue right now is nobody seems strong enough to handle a character of Joe's stature. Even his next big episode that revolved around baseball was horrible. One of my other biggest criticisms with the episodes is Tomioka has not been present for many of them. After Sakito's initial trilogy, he hasn't written a single episode. The first two arcs of Boonboomger have been a fun time. However, the show is currently sitting in a safe zone. I won't give it a score right now, but I do hope Tomioka and gang play their hand instead of holding back. Until next time, bye!